This Week in Action.
I'm gravely disappointed.
Could be something.
Talk to the developers.
Are you playing with my emotions?
Let's get sad and then
Too good to be true.
That's not what they did here. When's the money going?
what other horror stories can come with this?
We love Tencent.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Action Podcast 26. My name is Aaron, owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG. Today, with lots of good topics, as always, and with me, as always, is two of my friends, two of my leaders, Daft and Guilty. Say hello, gentlemen.
How's it going this evening, guys?
Heyo.
And as always, we have a show filled with game topics, current news, theory, and just general banter. I want to start a little different today. Daft, how was your week? I want to be more personable. You know, I want to see how you guys are doing. So, Daft, tell me about your week. What's going on?
Week's been good. We had a week last week. My son had COVID, so we dealt with that.
Oh.
Right, I know, big blah. But after that, everything settled in. It's been a pretty mellow week, though. Been doing a bunch of stuff for artwork for the channel. So that's been productive. So I had a productive week when it concerns the channel itself and anything having to do with it. So that's been the bulk of it.
Oh, that's good. You play any games this week? I know that we normally ask that at the end. What are you playing today? Did you play anything today?
I did play a couple games today.
A couple?
I'll give you a couple different ones.
Tell me one.
Yeah. Okay. The one of them was called, let me look it up again because it's brand new and I don't want to get it wrong. It's called Soulstone Survivors. And we could talk about it later, but it's a fun game.
Soulstone Survivors. Guilty, how's your week going?
My week's not bad. I just come off vacation, so yeah.
You came, wait, what do you mean you came off vacation? You've been working every day. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
but that was only 3 days. And then my most of my vacation I was working on stuff. But
You've been on vacation?
He was, but he was
that's
working
how I go on
too.
vacation.
That's weird because you were complaining about working all week.
Yeah, that's how I go on vacation.
That was his vacation.
Yes. No, it's not so bad. The heat's been
What is the
fantastic.
last thing, what's the last thing you did, Guilty, where you left the house and had fun that didn't involve working or a video game?
I go over to Cecilia's family's house. I'll sit with her father. We'll drink whiskey, smoke cigars, tell manly stories.
Manly
and then
stories.
I end up working there and running cable because he doesn't have hardwired internet upstairs and he wants it. So
you're saying that you immediately go back into work mode when you get there?
Yeah, it seemed to be the case.
I see. That's the way it goes. Hello, Luz. Welcome to the stream.
Your happy place.
She was our winner for the August 1st wheel spin and won a free hat. Congratulations.
I was quite upset with that turn.
Oh, you were close.
I had Aaron up to that point. The wins. I had the first pick getting the 5, and then the second getting the 14 hat, which gave me. I mean, it just kept happening, and then Luz showed up and everything died.
And then she took over. That's what she does.
She did.
I know.
She did. That's okay though. It's all right.
2 times. Because that sucks.
Hey, Daft finally found the Dundee. He picked and he found it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He did.
I'm curious what substitute it is. We'll see.
All right. Well, I will tell you about my week really quickly. So, family's important. Even though sometimes when you're around family, they'll drive you crazy. The memories, everything we do should be for the betterment of your family. At least that's part of my life's perspective. And my wife,
Right.
my wife's family, at least every other year, tries to hold a family reunion. And it fell on this year. And we offered up our house in Idaho for the entire week. And right now we are halfway through the week. I have 31 humans inside of my house. So
Camp Aaron.
And I mean, again, like I feel like these are the memories when you're a child you remember. Like this is the stuff that you'll carry with you for a long time. But it is like, I mean, I can't even explain it. It would be like the most crazy birthday party you've ever been to for an entire week. So
yeah, we had these types of events, Aaron, growing up when I was younger. Occasionally it was both sides of the family. Typically it was one or the other, but all of them would show up at the same time, but it wouldn't be for the week. It would be Sunday, show up in the afternoon and have dinner with us. It'd be all afternoon. There'd be like 20 people there, but they'd all leave afterwards, and we loved them all. But my wife and I were talking about this when you first started sharing. I was like, Aaron, it's Camp Aaron right now. He has to bar his gates when he's doing his streams. It's crazy. We hear the kids running down the hallway and crashing and then screaming, and then there's knives and blood. It's just all these things happening.
Exactly.
That all happened last stream.
That all happened on stream. Yeah.
Before this started, he told us he has to go lock the door so that no one tries to come in the room.
And all the kids just got home from the lake. I could hear it literally sounds like a stampede right now, like because we were at the lake all day. But
they're all amped up.
It's worth it. The craziest part, and I'll share one more thing quickly before we get to games, is bedtime. Bedtime is the craziest part because the older kids can stay up as late as they want. The younger kids want to hang out with the older kids, so the older kids are trying to get the younger kids away. All the younger kids want to be cool, so they think bedtime's not cool, but they're annihilatedly tired. But then they're also hopped up on sugar, and it's just bedtime is the crazy one. That, and then also, you know, like you're talking about 17 kids that are all annihilatedly tired that are trying to stay up.
17. But I just gonna ask one question before we move on. What is the breakfast situation? Are you guys just making a massive set, or are you going
asking
out?
If they eat the children? Because there's 17 of them.
So breakfast is, well, first off, we went and bought all paper, like paper bowls, paper, because you can't do dishes. Like that's impossible. No. And then we went, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms. We tried to do muffins, but they were just they're just gone so fast. So we axed muffins. So it's like Eggos, bagels, or cereal. That's basically your option right now when it comes to breakfast.
That works.
No bacon.
Well, two of the kids, what are the odds to? Two of the kids' birthdays. My 9-year-old turned 10 August 2nd, and then another cousin turns 10 on Friday. So we did French toast for their birthdays, or going to. So, anyways,
sounds fun.
It's fun. We're halfway through.
It sounds like you're having a blast. 17 kids, though.
Under the age of 16. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
And actually, there's only one that's actually young. So really, it's 16 kids, 7 to 16.
Okay.
4 of them are 10. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's
more power to them.
Uncle Aaron, Uncle Aaron, can I go in the office, Uncle Aaron? Can I see a PC, Uncle Aaron?
Aaron, Uncle, I got your computer on, but I kept hitting the power button trying to turn it off. God, just stay.
No.
Because obviously, again, whatever, I'm the cool uncle because I got all this computer stuff and I got 3 setups in my studio and blah, blah, blah. But obviously, kids are so drawn to, every child wants to be a YouTuber when they grow up now. So they think it's so cool and they want to hang out, which is great.
Well, very good. Very good.
I have no problem with that.
Glad it's working out for you, Aaron.
I know. Okay.
My wife and I would have never made it. Nope. But
I don't know if we're going to survive. Okay. Topic number 1. Now, this is something that I like to do with the podcast is every week on YouTube, I've been putting up a new survey, a new poll. And this week, I'm happy to state that it's the first time on this poll we got 1,000 participants to vote, which is pretty cool. 1,000 people voted on this poll. Now, let me read the poll. Couldn't be more simple. Starting class when you play a new ARPG or MMO. Because I guess the answer could be different based upon what style of game. But, if you play ARPGs, if you play MMOs, whatever. You have 5 options. Melee DPS, range DPS, tank, healer, army. An army would be like a Necro style, a Beastmaster, a a pets
Cheating.
class. I should have just put pets. That would have made more sense. Okay. And also people have asked questions like, what does range DPS mean? And I would be like spellcaster, or like, bow, crossbow, physical range would count as that as well.
Sorcerer, mage.
Exactly, right? But like you would, marksman would be considered range DPS. You would, right? I mean, I would put it in that
marksman.
class. Anyways,
Right.
here are the results, okay? Coming in tied for first place.
Range
Melee,
DPS and
melee DPS and range DPS, okay? And I actually thought that range DPS would win. I thought it would win handedly, okay?
Right.
So, 64% of the vote, 32-32, range DPS, melee DPS, okay? Coming in, I guess you could say second place, right? Because we had 2 first places. Army. That was my vote. Go figure.
Did
Yeah,
you vote that
figured.
many times? You just click it?
I can
a
only
bunch?
vote. It only lets you vote once.
You would
I
have voted
wouldn't.
more, though.
I wouldn't try and skew the results, anyways. Okay, so Army was my pick. The reason why I pick. Actually, we'll go into that in a second. We'll go through each of us what we pick and why. Third place was Healer with 11%. Last place was Tank. Okay.
No
So
tanks.
I'll go through it one more time quick. Tied for first place, melee DPS and range DPS. Second place, army style. Third place, healer. Fourth place, tank. Daft, does those results surprise you?
No, I picked range DPS. That's usually what I play. And every time I've talked to people, say in any of our Discord community about any games, it's typically a melee character that's being played or a range character. That's typically the two that come up the most. Like,
and obviously,
I
there's a
wanna
lot
play
in
the range.
there's a lot in between, right? Because melee, you can do dual wield, you could do two-hander, there's like lots of different variations. I chose to be very generic with which the options are. Okay.
Well, that fits most games, though. 'Cause,
Exactly.
all the different games will have a version of the core, basically. And so, yeah,
Well,
it was a good
before we
question.
Yeah, it is a good question, but I guess the question I'm about to ask goes into the reason why I chose what I chose. How many ARPGs have vastly different summoning mechanics?
So I guess your question goes into my answer as well. What I was going to say is the reason why I always pick Army or the Necro or the Pet or the Beastmaster or whatever class has pets is I feel like when you play Melee, it's always going to feel kind of the same. Whereas Army games can do it different. And I like to see how that new game does Army. I think they're all different. Wolsen, it's an aggressive skill system. Last Epoch, it's a no skill system. You can only control movement and who to attack. D4, their new one, you're going to be able to change different stances. Like Army is always I feel like it's a different variation. Whereas Melee, it's going to be melee and range. It's going to be different skills, but it's still going to be I'm shooting a fireball to kill this thing. Where Army is mechanically different.
So
some games suffer at that too.
That's the reason why I chose what I chose. Almost every ARPG, the like Berserker, Fighter, whatever, has the spin to win mechanic. They have the charge mechanic. They're all the same. They're
everyone has some kind of war cry for like added damage or fearing or threat generation. Like every single one.
So when I go to learn the other mechanics of the game, I don't have to learn that system because I already know it.
Yep. Hi, Flenser.
Yeah, sometimes you find things that like what Torchlight 3 did with their summoning. How'd that feel? You remember that, Aaron?
Of course. That's the reason why I played the game. The Railmaster.
Did you like that system where it was not the Railmaster, but the undead corpse guy? He would
Either one, though.
They had a weird system where you had to like power up.
No, Torchlight 3, you had the Railmaster.
That was the Railmaster. He had the laid tracks.
Railmaster. Well, there was that one, and there was also the undead summoner guy they added.
So
after launch,
I don't know.
I can't remember the name.
I don't
of
know
what
if
it's
we
called.
played after that. We got kind of with it.
I did too, but I checked it out because it popped up on my thing. Oh, updated class. So I tried the class. And
Okay, so hear me out for a second, because people literally always rip on Torchlight 3, understandably so. Okay, so I'm not saying Torchlight 3 is a good game. Like, just please don't clip that. Okay, I'm not saying that. I think it was a very average game. But I do,
Yeah, I'd give it a second.
I do like it when a developer team takes risks and chances. Having a summoning class where you are a Railmaster and you're running around laying track and upgrading a train that follows you, and you can upgrade the weaponry of that train, and almost like having your own siege tank direct where that train shoots, that is an interesting idea.
No,
that is an out of the box, interesting thought.
Too bad
that one was
game.
fine. That one was fine. But the second summoner class, the actual summoner class they made, that was, if you guys never played it, obviously did. It was, if it basically you had to kill things and they get coins from them, and then those coins became charges to get more undead.
Wasn't it a pirate class? It was a pirate class.
Yeah,
I played it.
Davy Jones.
Yes, you were.
Thing.
You had to get doubloons in order to make skeletons. Yes. I did play it.
It was weird but interesting, but it just felt a little too clunky. The rail class, the rail map, that one was fine. That was different and interesting. It didn't feel as clunky. Yeah, you had the little like turrets. It was like you were Santa's like, train thing, and you had all these turrets on the back of it and it would shoot, and it's interesting. Very cool.
Hello everybody from Perry the Pig stream. Thank you for the raid, sir. This is This Week in Action podcast 26. We hold this podcast every single Wednesday night. We just started a few minutes ago, and we are starting the topic of a poll that I put on YouTube. And the poll was very simple. Okay, I'll read it again just for the people that just joined. Starting class when you play a new ARPG or MMO. This is the first class you select. The options were melee DPS, range DPS, tank healer, or army class. Okay, necro style. The winner was a tie. In this game, it had 1,000 votes. Melee and range DPS both came in at 32%. Tank came in at 9%. Healer came in at 11%. And the necro army style came in at 16%. So we're just kind of discussing why you would select that first starting class. And thank you for the raid. Aura Battler, hello. Kelvara, hello.
Hey guys.
Welcome
to the chat.
Welcome to the podcast. Oh, I didn't change the number.
No, you didn't.
We've been secretly talking about that since start.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even have brought it up. Nobody would have noticed. That's okay. Okay. Guilty. You didn't actually answer. What was your vote?
Oh, it's sword and board. I always go sword and board because I know those mechanics, so I can learn the different mechanics, being the skill trees and whatever else is in the game. You already know that. It's one less thing to learn. You can learn the other stuff after you learn the basic systems to the game itself.
I really like sword and board. Sword and board used to be my number one until I really fell in love with the necro style class. I like the idea of being able to control my own army.
Right.
So, but that being said, if I don't have that option, or I don't like the necro class, then I go in sword and board because I want to be my own tank. I want to be that powerhouse. I want to be that class that could take all the damage and figure out a way to dish out damage. And Paladin is one of the best classes when it comes to Last Epoch. Super fun.
That's what Perry plays, right?
Perry loves Sentinel.
Yeah, he's a Sentinel guy.
But he's been playing his meme rogue. Been playing his he's been playing
rogue.
No, when you've played Last Epoch for a long time, you start working on meme builds, and you start figuring out if you could, make bees a build and figure out jumping bears and
Right.
Stuff like that. So, you know, it's always fun. Now, okay. So, Daft, you went range DPS.
Yes,
Guilty,
sir.
you picked tank, and I picked army. Is that correct?
I picked sword and board. There ain't no tank.
There is no sword and board. It's tank on the survey.
You know what it is. Melee DPS, sword and board.
Yes, it's been a standard for me anytime I start a game. Either a ranged, it's always a ranged thing. It's either mage or ranger type with the bow. If that's not the thing, and then I go straight in the opposite, it's a rogue. So it's kind of like the opposite side.
Okay,
So
I have a
like
follow-up question for Daft on that, but first I have to cover this because Guilty's done lost his mind. Sword and board is a tank class. It is not melee DPS.
You told me, well, yeah, it is tank class.
It is a
but
tank.
you can melee with that.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
How do you think? What do you think when you're thinking tank? Because you've been playing a game that we haven't been playing. That's multiplayer. Are you letting the cat out of the bag?
Is he letting out some steam?
Did some of that World of Warcraft tank stuff make its way into LE?
No, I'm
Holy
simply
Trinity.
saying that you're saying your favorite is sword and board. You
No,
don't.
that's what I start with.
I know, but I'm saying if you're using a melee class and you pick to have a shield, you are going into a defensive character. You're choosing not to hold dual wield. You're choosing
Shield
not to.
rush isn't no,
You're
defensive.
You're choosing.
That's offense, sir.
You're choosing to not have a two-hander. You're choosing to not dual wield. You're choosing to go into a defensive stance normally if you hold
do
a
that
shield.
to get across the screen faster. What?
I'm not talking about last Epoch.
Playing last Epoch, right?
I'm talking about specifically if you want to do damage, you do not hold a shield in last Epoch.
No, you use it to
No.
run across the you run across the screen real quick.
In Shield
you
Rush,
took the
there's a
skill
node
that
that
lets you
says
do
you
without
don't
that.
have
Yeah,
to
I
hold a
know it.
shield.
But I don't want to waste a note on that. Killing me.
Babe, I don't need a drink. I made something else.
Uh-oh.
She's going to be mad I'm drinking coffee at 10 o'clock.
I had my coffee when you were late earlier. I had my little cup that you enjoy so much. This little
Oh, your little baby cup.
Yeah,
Okay,
my little cup.
not to beat a dead horse. Follow-up question for Daft. Daft said when
What's
he
that?
starts a new game, ARPG or MMO, he picks a range DPS character. Now, Daft, for everybody watching, what class did you pick when we all started playing Lost Ark?
Bard.
Why?
It was ranged, and mainly because it's the first class I played when we had the prior year when we were in the beta for it. I picked it basically because it wasn't the others, and I'd played bards and stuff in D&D and stuff. So I was like, well, let's see what it's like to play a bard. And it ended up being like a medium healer / damage dealer type class. So it kind of fit, but it wasn't my general style to be actually care what was going on with the other players. So it wasn't a highlight for me. I like playing in a group, but I generally don't watch their health bars and babysit them. I generally just tried to, assist them and stuff. So, that was the class I picked. What's up?
Just like Guilty, would a bard lean towards historically healer?
No, they're buffing. What?
They're kind
No
of like
way!
they're kind
No
of an all.
way!
They're a support class.
Yeah, support class. Like they were, good at anything, but not great at anything.
Jack of all trades, suck at everything. Yeah.
You know what? I should have labeled on the survey healer / support, right? Because I guess that's a fair, I guess they're not historically devoted to only healing. They are a support buff class that also has healing abilities. I think that's fair to say, right?
Right.
Okay.
In Dungeons and Dragons, they were the same thing. You were more support than healer because you had clerics and stuff or what have you.
Yeah.
But you could cure light wounds. You could do things, but you weren't you were there when someone else, like if your cleric's healing somebody else who's heavily wounded, you could hit the people who just need a little touch up. So that was kind of the vibe.
People
Yeah,
that
that's
need
what I went with.
Band-Aids.
They need band-aids and a little bit of wound.
There's a
bars.
lot of kids in my
Band-Aids.
this family reunion. There's a couple kids that have needed band-aids in my house.
Yeah. So what was the blood last stream? I have to know. I
There-
heard screaming.
There was mention of a knife, and
There
then
was
within 10 minutes, and then murmuring of, do you think the parents are going to be upset?
The
all we knew.
11-year-old was running up and down the halls and clipped his pinky toe on the corner of the baseboards and sliced it open. It was like and like and we've I shouldn't say that.
those white baseboards.
And
Yeah.
they had to clean all the blood up, and then
Pink.
they had to he kept reopening the wound. So
That's what kids do.
my wife's brother is a nurse, so they couldn't get it to stop bleeding, so he glued it back. He glued it shut. So
Purple glue, or did he use like crazy glue?
he used medical glue. I don't know.
He
stuff.
probably had it in his car or something, just in case. Well, that's good. I'm glad no one was mortally wounded.
Yeah,
we actually thought that one of them stabbed themselves,
Yeah.
I mean, he's 11, right? So
which is why we thought he stabbed himself.
yes. Gum
Okay.
Bruise. Thank you for the follow. Day Trader Mikey, does Torchlight have simpler and more direct builds? PoE feels like you can't play it casually. It is a huge intellectual time sink. So Day Trader, I will tell you this, in PoE, if you are not, full time, or you don't follow the game, or you don't play it every single seat or league, most people just follow a build guide because that's just it's just the easiest way to play it, unless you're against playing the game that way. Torchlight is definitely a simpler game, but it does, just like any other game, have builds. It is definitely way simpler. And Torchlight Infinite, which I've been playing a lot of, my character's almost level 80 now. It actually, it's nowhere near PoE, but it feels like limitless options. But it's also those options where, like, you want more health or more damage or more crit. Like, it's pretty... Nothing's like, okay, you went crit instead of health, now your build screwed up. Like, it's just...
Right.
Nothing like you picked the wrong one, your build screwed up. I don't find it that way. But it depends on what Torchlight game you are talking about. Okay, done with the survey. We're done with that topic. Now, we still have to talk surveys, okay? Because if anybody's listening, I want your opinion, and I need your guys' opinion. The poll, the survey on YouTube, I am going to post tomorrow morning. I want it to be... What? I'm trying to think, what's the right word? Help me here. What, series, what universe do you want made into an ARPG? This is something that we were discussing over my last stream. And we were talking about, like, Tolkien. Yeah. We were talking about Dune. I talked about the Matrix. Like, what?
That would be cool.
What universe would you want to see made into a high budget ARPG?
Van Thorn has a great one. Star Wars.
Someone brought up Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah. What universe?
Now, I want to say, I think it's important that you can't pick a game that's already had an ARPG, right? Like,
have they?
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun's fantastic. It does have a CRPG. There's a trilogy out that's fantastic. But if Shadowrun had an ARPG with an isometric view, I would give them my money all day. I would buy every DLC for it. I would buy every skin for it. I need more Shadowrun in my life.
Okay.
Shadowrun's good.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Shadowrun, Star Wars. We talked about. I feel like I have to put Tolkien out there because a true Tolkien ARPG with, like, a lore expert, man, like, think about how much content that would be. Limitless. It would be like, this DLC is the Third Age, or, like, you could go
right.
If they got Christopher Tolkien on board with that, along with other people who are Tolkien experts, and they were able to do stuff without, like, being messed with, that would be fantastic.
And it's fantasy, right? So you're already in the fantasy genre, which is everybody's favorite. And yes. Okay. I mean, obviously that's what I'm going to vote for, but I want to think, I always try to, like, so if Tolkien's all the way to the left, like then you like jump to the future. Like that's why the Matrix popped into my head. It's like what kind of like cyberpunk kind of futuristic world can you go? And I thought the Matrix
Blade
would
Runner.
be cool because
Blade Runner, yeah.
Badlands from AMC. Badlands.
You know what would be? Yeah, Badlands is actually, yes, that's a good. Witcher's a good one for ARPG. So Philip K. Dick, you know, author of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Blade Runner, wrote Valus. Was Scanner Darkly, like all these things. Total Recall, Minority Report, lots and lots of things. Man on the High Castle. That would be a really cool ARPG.
I never saw Badlands. Did you watch the show, Guilty?
No. I know what it is, but I don't watch any TV like regularly.
I'm looking it up right now. So The Witcher, I would agree with, but I just feel like Tolkien would be so much better because it's kind of the same fantasy. Yeah, I'm not. Obviously, it's different universes, but
Richer. It has more.
And technically, The Witcher's, even though it's third person, it is an action RPG. I know nobody agrees with that.
Well, it is, but it's not an isometric.
It's exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
To put it in perspective, Warframe is an action RPG. It's a looter shooter action RPG. It is not an isometric.
But that is a subgenre, right? It is a looter shooter.
Right.
Twin stick.
It is like, I guess, over the shoulder view.
I haven't played it in like 8 years, so I re-downloaded it today. Just because you said you're playing it.
It's fun. I enjoy it. It's free. It's whatever. But Wheel of Time.
Super popular, but underrated.
Robert Jordan
Warframe
deserves a mention on that because he wrote the Wheel of Time almost his whole life, right? He died writing it.
Yeah.
And so did Tolkien, though. I'm sure he had a bunch of unfinished works.
Didn't they make
The
some?
Wheel of
Time.
Didn't they make
Not the stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, the Amazon original.
Yeah. Original my left foot. I like how they call it an original, and they didn't write any part of it. Like they wrote, like, I guess, the screenplay, and then they take it like advantage of a dead man. That's good. They call it an original.
Okay.
Good on you, Amazon. Good on you.
So, Tolkien. Right? Okay. I'm trying to jot them down so I don't forget. You know what? We should just freaking...
Yes, Wheel of Time. Good series. Read that a long time ago.
It's
College.
fantastic.
What about
Brandon
Dune?
Sanderson. Dune's
What about
fantastic.
Dune?
Yeah.
And everything we've mentioned is drastically different from the other. These are like
That's
things that don't share much.
Yeah.
Aside from like the hero's journey, but in an ARPG, everyone's the hero. So.
And
Dragon Age.
Dragon
But I mean,
Age.
again, like, obviously these are completely different universes, but when you're talking about fantasy, right? Witcher, Tolkien, Dragon Age, it's all swords and shields, you know, like, that's why it's like Tolkien, Dune, Matrix, you know, like really fundamentally like different. Like I want the pull to be very different worlds.
You guys remember the Mother series, Earthbound? Any of those from like Super Nintendo? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that type of zany gameplay, but in Douglas Adams' universe as an ARPG. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Do you say Galaxy's Guide to the or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? My kids started watching that. This is horrible. I started watching.
The book's great, man. I got the book.
The books are great. Doug Adams, yeah. I think he's from Davis over here.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Good
like
writer.
when I was reading him in college or when I was in high school, I had a family friend whose parent, they lived in Davis, and I think they mentioned that because I brought it up once. I could be wrong, but it's been a minute since those days.
What else?
Reading chat. I mean, can you guys think of anything else in chat?
I'm thinking right now. I really like Dune, Matrix. You can put 5. I like Tolkien, Dune, Matrix. I feel like those 3, because I also want to pick, like, you know, things that a lot of people know of.
Shadowrun, definitely got to have Shadowrun on there.
Okay.
That's been around
Right.
since the 80s. That's a hardcore game. That's
Right,
an RPG
tabletop,
from the 80s.
yeah. My
I'm
gut would also say like Star Trek, any of the
Oh,
series.
Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Star
Star
Trek.
Wars or Star Trek, though.
Well, they're different.
I've played both our MMOs.
I
like
haven't
both
played the
MMOs.
one. I haven't
What
played
would
the
be
Star Trek.
what would be an iconic Western universe?
Briscoe County Jr.
Briscoe? Yeah.
I'll put the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So the Man with No Name series.
Yeah.
So that actually is not an original. Akira Kurosawa directed a movie called Yojimbo, and then
Yes.
it was the Fistful of Dollars is a American remake of Yojimbo. The dialogue is pretty much the same, except for instead of asking for 3 coffins, he asks for 5 because he's got to be more macho.
I see.
You have A Call for Firefly, if you guys remember that series.
Oh, Firefly's great.
Firefly. Firefly.
Yeah.
That sounds so
Or-
familiar.
It's the space western.
Yeah, Space Western. I'd say it
Firefly.
was it late 90s, 2000, early 2000s?
2000.
Early
2006?
2000s, yeah.
2006.
Okay, 2006. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's is that when the movie? When did the movie? There was the movie came out, and that was a good movie.
Yeah.
We'll do a Weird Science. Weird Science.
Okay.
A lot
There's
could happen in
also-
that universe.
70s Hong Kong cinema, Kung Fu universe type stuff. That could be a cool
Chiba
ARPG.
presents Sonny Chiba in an ARPG.
Yeah. Like you could just have your character.
We have to have
just
the
go
Waka
through.
Waka guitars for the background.
I mean, there's so many universes you could pull from to make cool ARPGs. Is the point? Like, there's so many. It's just
It's-
about getting
you
the
know
right
what?
people.
It's not Western, but what about like Indiana Jones?
Oh, that would be. What do you play as? Would it be single player like Victor Vran?
Maybe.
Because if you
Maybe.
could play as Indy, that would be cool.
Like
But
an
you're right, 'cause-
archaeologist adventure. Yeah.
I just feel like any like truly, whether people love it or hate it, most modern ARPGs, it's like almost a requirement to have multiplayer. So it's like everyone's
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, right? I mean, yeah, that would be hard because there's not enough characters.
Van
Conan.
Thorne mentioned the Conan universe.
Yeah.
Conan. Yeah.
You could be a barbarian. You could be a wizard. You could
Right.
be, James Earl Jones.
But Tolkien would be so much better than Conan.
Well, it's just different. They're different universes completely. Like,
Conan is a more savage take on
He-Man
fantasy,
kind of vibe.
and Tolkien would have been a more a person with more etiquette wrote that, and someone who actually saw combat. So
Underworld universe, The Mummy, Willow.
Ooh,
Oh,
Willow.
hey, Willow's new movie's coming out soon.
Yeah.
that does have Warwick Davis in it, right?
Yes, it does.
Fantastic.
Willow release date November 30th
Yeah, this year.
this year.
Zang.
Bro.
Underworld, I liked the first movie and I felt like they just consistently got worse.
Well, I mean, they usually do.
I mean,
Like,
that's
look
not-
at The Matrix.
Oh yeah, the Mage. I didn't even watch the newest one.
I did. I like them making fun of Warner Brothers in the movie. They broke the fourth wall, made fun of the Warner Brothers because the whole thing is they were like, we're gonna make this with or without you. So the person that agreed to make it made it simply because they were going to do that. That's the way I viewed that. And good for them. Good for them.
Michael McCormick's Eternal Champions.
Eternal Champions. That's the game from the 90s, or right?
I'm trying to. It sounds familiar. It's. Look.
I have no idea what that is.
I do, but I don't.
Coma comes out of nowhere. Okay,
Moorcock's
Yep.
Eternal Champions.
I'm not saying current Marvel, but what about like OG 90s X-Men?
You mean okay? Who's writing? Or I'm sorry, who's doing the art?
Whoever did the art of that show.
I'll give you a hint. The artist that did the X-Men that everyone loved in the early 90s for Marvel is now the head of DC.
Marvel had an ARPG. That's why I said not Marvel. I said 90s X-Men, which is Marvel obviously now.
I would like to see a Green Lantern. Like, if you're going to go into comic book stuff for ARPG, I'd like to see a Green Lantern ARPG so I can play Kilowog. Or like Kyle Rayner, or like Jon Stewart or something.
So yeah, Eternal Champions is aged. It's a couple years after I'm out of high school, so 93, and it was on the Genesis.
That makes sense.
Yes. That's why I totally recognize the name, because I was old enough and I had a Sega.
Oh, I got one. What about Bond?
James Bond.
If you're playing James Bonds,
but it would be like
in a single player sense, that'd be good.
James Bond would be part of the campaign, but you would be playing as like your, you're 2090. No, like the character number.
Why do I gotta be 2090?
All right, you're right. That's stupid. You're 00 action RPG. I don't know.
Right.
And you're like a spy, and your upgrades is like your gadgets, right? So you've got your watch, you've got your pistol, you've got your cufflinks, you've got your car, you've got your open world. That's crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about.
World, that would be so out of scope. You would need like 6 teams to work on it. But what if we're looking at this from the wrong? Where we're like, oh, let's all be heroes. What if you could choose to be a hero,
anti-hero,
or be a villain?
Yeah.
So what if I could choose to be Klaus Schwab and go against James Bond?
Can I be Odd Job because he's so hard to hit in GoldenEye?
Yeah,
he's smaller than everyone.
Box is like tiny. Yeah, I'll allow it for the sake of conversation.
Like you beat the game and then you get new game you open up a new character. That's a whole thing. You could play the opposite.
Dude, the scope of that game would be unbearable. Ooh, another one just came to mind. Mario Brothers.
They have an RPG.
No, they
have an action game. They have a fighting game. They have several platformers.
Flenser, with a good question.
Got puzzle games.
What would the classes be?
What would the different classes be, though? You need multiple classes for every ARPG. Flenser, but which one? What idea? For Bond? Or for
Henchman, Assassin?
Mario, you'd have plenty.
Muscle.
You could just be the different characters.
Exactly.
Just give them stats.
What's the newest Bond villain? You would call him, he's a brain. He's not strong, he's just really smart. The guy's being played by what's his face? Oh,
I don't know.
He was in the movie about Bohemian Rhapsody. The guy that was in Bohemian Rhapsody. That's him, right?
Oh,
yes. I didn't see it. I know what you're talking about. He
looked like he'd be a great villain.
Well, he's scary looking.
Well, whatever that class is, that would be a class. Evil, scary looking genius.
He said Mr. Robot.
Yeah, Mr. Robot.
Okay.
I think we got a good list.
In Sonic 2, at the end of Sonic 2, it's not really a spoiler.
Rami Malek.
They basically, you hear like jumping. The idea is that like Mario's coming to the universe. Okay, it's like a little teaser at the end of Sonic 2.
Right.
Is it going to be Mario or is it going to be Luigi? Because John Leguizamo will definitely do that.
Either way, whether it's Mario or Luigi, the whole idea is that, Dr. Robotnik is on the mushroom planet, right? Like everything alludes to it. And if the Sonic movie 1 was popular and Sonic movie 2 was popular, they're actually thinking of creating, of course, because it's a moneymaker, a cinematic universe around Sonic and Mario. See? And then you could tie that together into an ARPG.
Yes.
But how many characters could you have if you had Mario and Sega? I mean, Mario and Sonic.
Nectar Man.
That's a million. Right. There's literally
Comic Zone.
Well, Flenser, I think to answer Flenser's question, for any of them, you'd need different styles to play through it. I think you just have to look to the universes. So if it was like the James Bond thing, different types of agents, right? With different specialties would be like the classes you could play. And I think you would just have to do that, within the universe
Yeah, if
each
you look at,
lore.
I'm sure that so if you look at the way movies portray special forces, like one guy's I'm a demolitions expert, I'm a munitions expert, I'm a hearts and minds high charisma guy.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm
Like
Arnold.
Like with the Ninja Turtles, if we were to class them in an ARPG,
Right.
you would class them with, certain ones would have high dex, certain with more strength. So, and
Right.
then,
You got
tinker
Jesse
with
Ventura. He ain't got no time to bleed. He's your heavy.
Predator.
Yeah.
Terminator came to mind. I didn't say it. Yeah, exactly, Flenser. And I mean, this is like the worst possible example. Mario 2, which was just like a copy and paste. If you know the history of Mario 2, Princess could float or she could glide. Toad can pull the things out of the ground faster. Luigi.
That's Mario 2.
That's Mario 2. Luigi had
That's
super.
not a Mario game. It was
I know
only
it's
a
not.
Mario game here.
I know, that's what I'm saying. The point I'm saying is that each character had like an inherently different characteristic. Luigi could jump super high. Yeah.
Right.
Anyways. Okay. Good list. Polls are officially done. If you have any input, let us know in chat or put it in the Discord. We are now moving on to segment number 3. Segment 1 was current poll. Segment 2 was what are we going to do for the new poll? And for segment 3, we're going to talk about our favorite game of all time, Wolsen Lords of Mayhem. Dropped in February 2020. The greatest studio ever made.
Controller support, guys. They're going to bring you controller support. Controller support here. Controller support.
I could use mine.
Not as 4th chapter, but controller support.
Okay, I know we're done with that segment, so I have to shelf it. The Riddick universe would be fun.
Call up Vin Diesel. He owns it.
Does he?
Yep. He bought after he was in Pitch Black. He bought the rights to it and got super rich off of making the video games and making the Chronicles of Riddick. And
the Chronicles of Riddick video game on most online polls is rated the best video game or movie video game adaptation ever.
He made money on it. He made a ridiculous amount of money on it.
I thought you were going to say Diablo Immortal. That is really funny. Anyways, Wolsen Lords of Mayhem. Now, it is an ongoing joke inside of our Discord, probably based upon the videos that I've made over the years. I mean, for a long time.
Years.
It's like every once in a while, someone will put just like a meme in the Wolsen Discord saying it's just like what's going on, or this is terrible. Anyways, they have finally broke their silence. Wolsen Studios dropped July communication 2 days before July was over, and it was two paragraphs of communication.
Fire.
So in 3 months, they gave us 2 paragraphs, and they promised us that they would give us communication every month, which of course they lied. This is what we have. We have a new UI coming. Ooh. We have controller support coming. And this is their words, and I quote, well on our way through chapter 4 content. Now, I will say,
writing it.
For months, I've heard about, for years, I've heard about controller support. I've heard about, for months, new UI. This is the first time in 2.5 years they have mentioned finishing the story. Actually, it's not finishing the story, extending the story. So this is the first time they've mentioned it. Guilty, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, this is not hard to make happen, and 2.5 years is wrong. Just like it's in every other game. Every other game, it has that support because it's just something you do. It's not like rocket science. They're not like inventing something new. It's literally something that's done in every game. I don't know why it's just now coming, even though they've been promising it for 2.5 years. The story being worked on is not the story being done.
Oh.
Okay, so this is my thought.
That makes sense.
They told us they were working on controller support March 2020. it's still not out.
It wasn't in the. It was promised from the get-go.
I know, but they said they've been working on it. So literally,
not that it's a big deal, but it's a meme now. They have made it a meme.
So if they said they were working on controller support in March of 2020, and now for the first time they're telling us July 2022 they're working on Chapter 4, when do we actually get it?
Working on it means they could be writing it down.
Yes. Someone's sitting on the toilet doing some work.
Like there's a
could say
doc
But that's-
somewhere that has a storyline or something on it.
But that's not what they said. They
much.
said well on their way.
Right.
To starting development.
Hey, somebody put it in chat. There was something else that they said. Flop wrote this. You guys are typing too much. Wolsen, they said they were going to add a chapter, yes, with replayability. It's a really interesting thing to say.
Does that mean one chapter is replayable for the story, or all the chapters? Because
For anybody that has not played Wolsen Lords of Mayhem, their campaign is non-replayable, which means once you finish, you cannot go backwards. You can't. Once you're in the end game, you cannot go back into the campaign. So if they're adding more to the campaign, like Chapter 4, why would they say that it would have replayability?
Because they know people complained about not being able to play the campaign again. Like
Flop says they wrote the story on a napkin.
Oh,
like-
did they now?
Their campaign's so good. The art style is so good. They're doing everyone that worked on that a disservice by just locking it out. Like they're kicking them square in the junk. Like all those artists, all the people that did the narrative work, all of the people that did the setup for all of those levels. Just you get to play it once.
Okay, how hard is it? This is a question for Guilty. How hard is it for them to program the same campaign, but like a hell or like a harder difficulty?
I don't know how they built it, so I can't. I know how I would future-proof things that make that like a possibility from the get-go, and if they didn't, it probably wouldn't be easy.
You couldn't put in a generic line of code that's like everything is 20% more difficult from
You
like
could build it to
Sort of,
have a scaling difficulty, and you could write in the code depending on the level of the character. You can have a scale with the character however you want it to scale. You can do that, but if you didn't do that in the original, like from the beginning, going back and changing everything is kind of a pain in the ass. Maybe they didn't do that. Who knows?
They didn't do a lot of things, so we know that.
I don't know what they did, so I won't speak to it, but I'll say that not being able to replay the campaign for whatever reason is kind of
That's pretty. Is that a generic way to minimize your ability to level before a certain point in the game?
I guess what I just
literally no one else does that.
it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, I mean, I know it might be like, oh, you're copying like the Diablo model, which I mean,
They did. I mean, it's what it is, though.
but why not just like you can replay the campaign, but at a harder difficulty, which again, leveling late in Wolsen is so hard, right? So it's like, oh, I'm bored with the end game, but I really enjoyed the campaign. So I'll play through the campaign again at a harder difficulty, which will then give me more experience where then I can continue to level my character. Like, it seems like such an easy...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't make sense why you would limit the player. Like, it just seems.
It seems like
through
maybe
it's
something Aaron said might be true. Like the scaling. So the game was play tested. They didn't they had to have had it play tested. And there's a possibility that the reason that you can't replay it is because the scaling was bad and you could just run through it. It probably tested poorly because maybe there's no scaling. That's
part of planning your game well, but
but like that's why you design it on paper first.
White Tiger, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. First time chatter. Most ARPG games have used the Diablo model and tweak it, just like how WoW has become the model for MMOs. And I think I think that's totally fine. I think that's a testament to how amazing the original Diablo games were concocted and made. I don't think there's
nothing wrong with that.
as
You
long
just
as you're
have
not
to-
calling your game Diablo, right? I mean,
right.
Can we make one and call it El Diablo?
El Diablo.
As long
could
as
be a
you take
fishing
the
game.
formula, you take the same formula and you change the ingredients just like in a recipe. If you want to copy a recipe when you're cooking, you could copy it and then change the protein. You could change spices and proteins and make a completely different type of recipe based off the same style of recipe. So,
Yeah.
you know, an ARPG
Good
is not
analogy.
any different. It's you
But and again, like
change the
again,
ingredients.
I don't want to beat a dead horse. I envision myself sitting around the table and we're discussing, okay, hey, let's talk end game now. We're a studio, let's talk end game. Hey, well, the only end game we have planned is this city builder thing where you upgrade the city that you're now ruling. Okay, well, people are going to definitely get bored of that quick because I'm bored of it. Why don't we make it where at least it's an option to replay the campaign at a harder difficulty, and then we could pitch it as a separate end game. So then we could market it as the game having multiple end games. Oh, that's a great, like what? Why is that? It seems so simple. No, and then you see the guy in my head. I envision the guy at the end of the table. No. Actually, our plan is opposite. Once you finish the campaign, we're gonna lock the campaign, and there's nothing you can do to go revisit those amazing cutscenes and boss fights. You're gonna forget about them. So that's forget about it. That's gone, and we're gonna give them this boring end game. And then maybe we'll make more content that they'll yearn for. Like what a stupid idea.
So did you see the images I put in the beginning of the intro?
Yes.
Those are the devs. Those were the devs. And what were they inside of? Was it an office or was it the dude's house?
Was it a house?
It was a house. It's the guy's house. Like I've been saying, it's an incubator.
Or introduce freaking dungeons. Like, I know it's what's up, Ashman? Thanks for the follow. Hello.
I don't know, Aaron. We've been covering this game for so long now, and it's just gone downhill for the last year. They can't get the community involved. I haven't gone to their Discord in a while, and I'm afraid to because I'm sure it would just be toxic.
Every once in a while, and again, I'm normally not this type of guy. Every once in a while, I get so frustrated with Wolsen because people will hit me up and be like, dude, seriously, people hit me up and hey, if you're going to make a video, I want you to know this. And did you read that? So people will hit me up on Discord trying to give me information so then I could make a video to bring justice for the Wolsen developers. And I'll go in there and I'll try and get kicked out. So I'll go in there and I'm never I never use profanity or anything, but I'm just
Doesn't have to.
is there any developers still making the game? Where the hell are you? And I'll just all caps and I'll at everyone, and everyone's laughing. And then it actually stirs up people talking. And then everybody, and then it just starts this chain, right? Because I don't care. Go and kick me out,
Yeah.
Because every time I make a Wolsen video, please believe I'm posting it in the Wolsen Discord, and it's me ripping them apart, Anyways, they don't kick me out. I don't know why.
It's because you're a content creator that they can later maybe use. For a while, you might be the only content creator making content for them still.
I'm the only game in town when it comes to Wolsen. I mean, they have 160 people playing the game left with no future anything, right? But please believe they actually released Chapter 4. Oh, I'm playing Chapter 4.
Yeah, we have to run through it.
And I initially bought a controller because I thought they were actually going to release controller support. And I have the idea of me holding the controller in the Wolsen thumbnail. Let's finally do it. That is the meme. I want to do it, but they won't release controller support.
So I've been playing with the Steam controller because I don't need it to have controller support.
But it works.
It works perfectly fine.
White Tiger, there's a saying I love, bad decisions from bad creative. This game, to fit that narrative, literally no long-term thought process for endgame.
No.
So, I have some thoughts. Maybe they've worked on AAA titles before, maybe they haven't. Maybe some of them are more experienced than others. But the actual design team, and the development team. So you've got your creative team and you've got your programming team.
Yep.
I don't know because I didn't see, but I have predictions for both. Their programming, their code is like a bowl of spaghetti. It's all like you can't untangle it. No one knows what the hell's going on.
Pain.
But maybe like their art team's superb. Like their art team, like grand slam. They're the best part of this team.
Their skills, because they've done tons of updates on skill visuals. They look great.
Yeah,
that's not the problem with the game.
No, the problem is the actual design. Is like there was some very peculiar, if not lazy, things they chose to do. Like the inventory system was lazy as hell. It's like the inventory system they had in when they were testing, hoping to make a better one, and then it came time to release, and they're like, "Oh darn." Some of the clunky controls, they kind of evened that out. That's fine, whatever. The multiplayer, there was the meme. It's like, "Oh, I lost all my stuff. Oh, my entire game progress reset. Oh, I got kicked out." And then the first one was like, "You guys can play?"
Dude, I'll tell you a story.
What happens.
I made a character when the game launched, and you got to a certain part in the story where you walk through the gate, and it's like a wooden gate, and then it shuts behind you, and then you got to fight like the little boss of that chapter. Well, the gate shut before I went through it. No way to fix it.
Oh, I remember that.
Because it
shall not pass.
Because it
breaking bugs.
Because then it auto saved that boss fight. So when you relog in, I'm always on the outside of the gate, and you cannot get in. I was like, you know what? I ripped that. I made a video. I was like pissed off. I was like, I am required to start over because there's no like go back. You can't go back a chapter and redo it. Nope. You are screwed forever. Okay. You have to restart.
To be fair, they're not the only studio to do that. You guys remember The Force Unleashed?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I actually, I know some of the people that worked. They were programming for that title, and I broke their balls on this constantly. There was a glitch in the game that would go back to your save at a certain point. If you did something in the game and you saved after it, no matter what you did, by the time you got to Darth Vader, he would be frozen solid, and you could not kill him. He would not take damage, and he would not attack you because he's a statue.
Yay.
That's
Every
fun.
time you tried to go back in, you could not kill him. So they're not the only people to do that. However, it's hilarious every time it happens.
Jeez. Okay, this is the last thing about Wolsen, and we're gonna move on. For a year and a half, my Is It Fixed Yet videos, I really asked for a couple of things. And I would put it in the video. Wolsen, if you just did these things, I will make a video, and it'll be named Wolsen Lords of Mayhem, It's Fixed. These were my asked. I would tell them that all the time. I was like, I will give you, I'll give you a It's Fixed video. Those videos always got thousands of views. I was like, I want a stash that is more advanced than original Diablo 2. Seriously, if you go look at Wolsen's stash right now, a next-gen ARPG, you have 4 tabs, and it's just a cube. There's nothing you could do, okay? It is a Diablo 2 stash tab original, okay?
It's a placeholder for what they wanted to put in.
I wanted a crafting system that at least you could decipher. I don't know if anyone's ever crafted in Wolsen. I actually tried to make multiple videos on how you craft in Wolsen. It is
twice.
It's unbelievably difficult. You have to socket the right gem, then you have to get the right crafting material that does a random thing, and then it'll extract the gem's modifier and give you a random component on top of the item. It is the most convoluted, worst crafting system. I was like,
Horrible.
At least give us a guide for like how it works, okay? So
Can I have
give
the
me
book that came with Earthbound?
so just give me a crafting system, give me stash tabs, and then give me something to do. That's it.
Right.
I was thinking, I was like, holy crap, we're gonna get this war table. It's gonna have like 4 or 5 different end game mechanics. They talked about giving us new crafting. They gave us these like terrible loot filters, but at least there's a loot filter in the game now, right?
Right.
But no,
one.
they just
Still.
and in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, this is a studio that has over 60 people. They sold 2 million copies for $40 each. They are loaded with money. How hard is it to program like extra stash tabs or changing the color or like typing in what's in this stash tab? Gems. Never happened. Never happened.
As mentioned in previous podcasts before, I think it's because, well, they better know how to use the engine now, but I don't think they knew how to use it then. Like, I think they were learning it as they went.
Pretty much.
Ooh, I like the. I'm gonna let Daft read that last comment that came through chat. I'll let
But from Drath.
Yes.
All right. Drath says, but we need a bad crafting system on some games just to show how good Last Epoch is.
Dude, Last Epoch's crafting. Last Epoch's crafting system is like, it is a thing of beauty. It functions so well.
And the thing is, they've gone through basically 2 iterations of the crafting system.
Yes.
The current one and the past. And while they're similar with the affixes and where they go and how they have a lot of differences in how they decided the difficulty was. They took away the destruction part and they said, well, you get so many charges per piece, and sometimes you get lucky and use none on a charge. Right? Like,
and updated the item quality, how many, energy or whatever it is. Crafting potential. I think crafting potential.
Yeah.
You guys
Legendary
like it better
potential.
than rolling dice?
Yes.
I mean, it technically is rolling dice.
I mean, it still is, but it's rolling dice with purpose.
It was, so Last Epoch had a good crafting system. They took that crafting system and then made an amazing UI. Then they used that same UI and updated the crafting system with the same stats, like the same statistical chances of crafting, but somehow made it feel better. I mean,
They just took away the
that's pretty
negative.
amazing, like the thought process that went into that system.
Also, they added in the different relics or whatever they are, the sigil or whatever it's called.
Well,
What is it called now?
So
They have
Glyph of Hope. Is that what it's called?
yeah,
the glyph,
they
the new
changed
one.
the
One of the new
names,
ones.
they changed how they worked.
and they threw in a couple of chase. They threw in a couple of chase crafting material, the Glyph of Despair and the other one, where you can actually mirror items and do other things.
I like Despair. That's the one that allows you to lock one, right?
You could seal it.
Yeah,
You could throw a
that's
fifth.
cool thing.
You could throw a 5th affix on.
Yeah, I've done that on my rings on my current character.
Okay, Wolsen
Good stuff.
closed. Hate talking about Wolsen.
Casserole of Chaos.
I get all. God, I get
Stupid spaghetti
so
goat.
mad talking about Wolsen. It's just, and anybody that's played the game, look, now I say we're done and we're not done. It's because you just see so much potential. It's
Always
like,
go back to
man,
Wolsen.
it's
so pretty.
so pretty and the campaign's so good and they have knocked out a lot of the bugs. It's like, just sell the damn game to somebody that could do something with it. Like,
Give it to the people that made Crisis. They know how to use the engine.
The engine.
Flop said, and the legendary system is awesome. It's unbelievable. Legendary
yeah,
potential on
that's-
uniques.
Su-
Yeah.
That's a
I
super
agree.
chase thing.
And they make it where all low-level uniques can now be in end-game systems because of legendary potential. All right, I'm gonna intro the next topic while Daft reads whatever that is, if there's anything relevant in there. You don't have to read it out loud. Okay. Next topic, we are moving over now to Torchlight Infinite, okay? We're gonna talk about Torchlight Infinite for a brief while. I have now leveled my character to almost level 80, so if you have any questions about Torchlight Infinite, this new ARPG coming out in October, ask now. Guilty, this is your segment. Go.
Okay, so this is the shortest segment of the night. Go pre-register. The game's coming out in what, October? There you go.
October.
There it is. That's all I got to say.
But this was my question. I could have sworn it was October was going to be like a full, like open beta.
All right. So they haven't said what this is in explicit detail. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
This is just a pre-registration. They haven't mentioned when a beta, a closed or open will happen. What you have right now is actually it's technically a beta, but it's an alpha. They might be removing or adding in entire systems at this point. They might have multiple builds and they might pick the best systems out of each one to put into the beta, then they'll balance. That's typically what happens.
Not to say anything bad about Last Epoch, but obviously there are games that it's like they're beta forever. You know what I mean? Like launching an open beta that they have announced, it was October 2022, could be game launch, right? I mean, like isn't Fortnite still in beta or something crazy like that?
No.
Did they
what's
find
the one that's still in beta that's everyone's playing?
Beta. I mean, a lot of games stay in beta.
Is it Tarkov? Is that still a beta?
Oh, you know what? Last Epoch isn't in beta; it's in early access, isn't it? Is there a difference?
Yeah, but it's still a beta.
Yes.
It's still in beta.
I legitimately, if someone's like, "Hey,
You
what's the
have early
difference?"
access
I'd
to
be
the
like,
game playing the beta.
I don't know. This
Okay, so alpha is when you are making huge changes to systems. Okay.
alpha's
Right.
early, like your early
Yeah,
design still.
Right. You don't know what the final systems will be in the game yet.
Yeah.
Beta is when you have the final systems, but now you need to finish off art and balance.
Yeah.
And gold is when you are actually shipping it to sale.
But
That's what those
what's the
are.
difference between like an open beta and early access?
So early access just means you have access to content that other people don't have because you paid money or you want a ticket or whatever. It doesn't mean anything really. It just means you're playing the game.
So
Yeah.
I get it. So
It
you
could
have
be
early
alpha.
access to the beta.
or the
or
alpha,
even alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or pre-alpha.
or gold phase for that matter. You can have like early access for 3 days.
Yeah.
7 days to die, still in alpha.
Is it really?
My gosh. Okay, we got a
Good on
question about Torchlight Infinite. What is the build system? What does the build system work? Is it good for theory crafting? Okay.
That's on you, Aaron.
Basically, I think he's just asking you how locked in or build's going to be, or can you?
So I've only made one character. Okay, so
Mess
just to be clear, I've only made one character. But let me tell you options. Okay, you've got 10 different gear pieces that you have on, and if you hold 2 weapons, it would be 11. All right, and obviously you can get different gear that have different affixes, and unique items do different things for your character. Okay, so right off the bat, lots of gear options, which is great for theory crafting. Okay, you have your pet tree, you have your hero trait tree, and you have your passives tree. And on the passives tree, there's 24 different ones to pick from. Okay, I know this is a very high overview. On top of that, you have 5 active skills, 3 passive skills, and each one of those skills can have 5 links on them. It is for a first time playthrough, you're like, holy crap, I have a zillion options. Okay.
Right.
So I can't even say that I've even like attempted to theory craft. I was just like, okay, I shoot. I'm going to pick everything that's attack speed and projectile damage just because I know it's going to help my character. And it has really good detailed tooltips. So seeing what damage you're doing, how the gear is affecting you, how the skills are affecting you, and something I've asked for in Last Epoch for a very long time, you get individual tooltips for each skill. So you could see how your gear affects the skills and the links that you put on your skill, how it affects the actual ability that you're using.
There's 5 classes, Aaron, or 4?
There's 5, but they're adding a 6th for game launch, which is the Oracle Thea. So the Oracle Thea is coming, which will be the 6th class.
Okay, so part of the answer, open-ended hero building, customized with 24 talent trees and 230 plus unique skills.
And again,
on a phone.
But they add other little customizations. So for example, when you pick a passive tree, because there's 24 of them, if you put 15 points into that same passive tree, you unlock an extra little skill that the passive tree does. If you put 30 points into an individual tree, another little skill pops up. And all of those are, it's not like the same one. All of those are also, you get to select what you want. So it's like, man, there's just so much customization. Like, you know, they always say it's like infinite build opportunities. And I will say for the first playthrough, I mean, it really was like, it felt like infinite build opportunities. Does Aaron Action RPG need a drink yet? Yes, honey, I would. Just know my door's locked. So you got to pick the lock, you know, and then... And the attack skill, can they be customized like shape, number of targets, AoE, etc.? Yes. Yes. So you could change number of projectiles. Okay, so I'll just give you, you can go watch my Torchlight video because I show gameplay. So if I picked a bow, then I would shoot 1 arrow. But for me, I'm using dual pistol, so I shoot 2 shots. So like 1 click is 2 shots. But on top of that, I take multiple projectiles. So now instead of shooting 1 or 2 shots, I shoot 3 on each pistol. On top of that, I took bounce. So now when I shoot and they hit, they bounce to other targets. Then I took pierce. So now when I shoot, there's multiple projectiles, they'll pierce and they'll bounce. Then I took chain lightning. So now when I shoot, it's multiple projectiles, they pierce, they bounce, and they chain. So it's like lots of different things like that in the game, and it's really fun to mess around. Another example is your character and different skills you could pick based upon your weapon. So me being a divine shot, I can do, and it sounds so stupid, but if I wanted to, I could pick single pistol and a shield. I could pick dual pistol. I could pick cannon. I could pick rifle. I could pick bow. And each one of those, the way your character operates is completely different. So well, where do I sign up? It's really, and I
post the link. You can go there and actually sign up.
And this is probably the most real thing I'll say about the game. Okay, for me to play a game strictly on my cell phone and get addicted to it, I can't. I don't know how long, if ever, that has happened. Since I don't have access to the PC version of the game yet, I only have access to the mobile version. And I feel like I can't play it because it's boiling my phone so hot because I'm playing it so much. That is a true testament to just how good this game is, okay?
Aaron.
What?
In chat, can you swap weapons?
Yeah.
I figure you could, because Torchlight previously, you could swap between...
No, I'm saying, yeah, can you swap weapons?
Oh, okay. Can you tell us that?
I don't know.
Why don't you know? I need you to put another 20 hours into that game tomorrow.
I don't know.
He's got a day to do it. He can do it in a day.
My wife is
Aaron doesn't switch weapons, so...
Yeah, he just runs through everything. He and I have the same ARPG play style.
Thanks, beautiful.
Skip everything. Get to the
Hey,
end.
Christine.
Okay.
Hola.
Hey, Nina. Hey, Nina. Where's mine at? Nina?
Aaron has my address.
That's a big one.
Fresh.
That's a big one. Melt that phone, wow. Aaron.
Kill it. Destroy that phone.
You know, I don't know if it has weapon swap. I don't know.
My money is yes, but maybe not, because
Maybe because it's
prior
on
ones-
mobile game.
So again, I haven't like
Right.
fully like there is a lot of different systems because I got asked a question too, like does the pets operate the same way where they can hold inventory for you and go to town and sell stuff for you? And there's not like a specific like pet UI that you could click on and see that. And your pets in this game do not attack like you would see from a previous Torchlight titles. Because you got to
Question
remember
about
to
the pets. Is that for buffing you passively? That's where you put your
Yes.
passives? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The-
So it's okay. Gotcha.
Each pet has its individual passive points that buff you that you have to make a pact with. So you got to make a pact. You got to form a bond with your pet, and they unlock certain points for you that you can go into. And the pets is the one thing that is the gotcha system of Torchlight Infinite, where it's like a random draw. Oh, did I get a rare one? Did I get a legendary one? Did I get the added damage? Did I get the extra drop? So like the pets is the one thing that's like kind of scary, but you can't buy power as far as gear. There's no pay to win mechanics that I've seen in the game so far. If not, we will have to make a new tune each time, which would be very tedious.
with no weapon swap.
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
I mean, he's.
wait.
Can you trade?
You can, of course, you could change weapons. When I thought the question was like, can you like on the fly like hold two
Yeah, that's what I
weapons
think
and
he's asking.
swap?
W and switch over to a secondary set of weapons.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah,
Bow, staff.
Yeah.
anything.
I haven't seen that, but obviously, like, you know, like, okay, for this run, I want to take a bow. This one, I want to take pistols. Like, of course, you could change them manually whenever you want, but as far as weapon
Right.
swap, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that.
I don't know. I'd be surprised personally, because I was playing Torchlight 2 yesterday, and that's a button. You can whatever you set it to. So, and I think it was in 3. Pretty sure it was in 3 as well. So
Don't
We'll
talk
see.
about that game. That doesn't exist. This is 3.
this is a different. Yeah.
So-
this is a different.
You know,
dev, so
lately, I
Who
think
knows?
I've been really like kind of, I don't want to say like overselling Torchlight because I do think it's a good game. Infinite build possibilities. I like the combat. It definitely has the Torchlight styling. Okay.
right.
But obviously, you know, it being a mobile game on Android and iOS with a good, hopefully good PC port, they're saying it's been designed since day one, and it's going to feel like a full PC released ARPG. You know, it's not going to have like inventory Tetris, which I really like. You know, I like items having different
Yeah.
sizes. It's going to have the, you know, it's going to have everything's the same size. It's going to, you know, that type of stuff. So it's still going to have kind of those
The
mobile.
Tetris is fun though. I like that.
I like it too. But that's what I'm saying. It's not gonna have. It's not
Yeah.
gonna have that. It's like, you know what? It's like inventory, like Lost Ark inventory.
Right. Right.
That's
Everything's
actually
a
pretty
square.
good inventory. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's fine. It's just
It's
you know,
just
you're not hitting the
creative.
swap button all the time or
Yeah. It's functional.
reorder.
Not very creative, but functional.
But I will say this whole Torchlight thing, I'm surprised because until we talked about it the other week, I had no idea it was coming out. So,
no one's even really heard of it. Well, a lot of people wrote it
Right.
off. Also, people say
Yeah.
like, oh, Torchlight 3 was a disaster. This is a completely different studio. Like, the people
Yeah,
creating
right.
Torchlight Infinite aren't the people that created Torchlight 3. That game got sold to who bought it?
The rights to 3, not the rights to the IP.
I don't
right?
remember.
I don't
You
know.
not
Like
remember,
it's
Aaron.
like Obsidian with Fallout New Vegas. They
Yeah.
so the New Vegas that everyone loves more than 3, not made by Bethesda.
You want to know something too, and whether this is, I don't want to say like lip service, right? I mean, I don't want to say it's disingenuous, but something that gives me extreme confidence too in the studio is when I make a Torchlight video, the studio is in the comment section. Constantly.
Hey,
I mean, I'm talking without exaggeration, 50 comments. Someone's like, oh, this
Right.
looks like mobile trash. And Torchlight Infinite will come into the comments and be like, hey, we're going to do our best to make sure that's not the case.
Right.
Like, what studio? What studio do you see doing that?
To put it in perspective,
a smart studio.
they tracked down my unaffiliated Twitter account and commented on stuff that was not affiliated with Aaron's content.
That's true. So, I mean, they're obviously paying attention to the circle around you that they've noticed. And so, that's good. I mean, it's good on them because they know that the Torchlight brand right now is kind of, if you will.
But it could be really easy to be like, oh, that, go to hell. Like, it looks like mobile trash. We've put our heart and soul into this. Like, go play something else then. Like, people could easily take offense to that, but they're trying to build a positive reputation for the game and their studio by reassuring the community, hey, we are trying to make a great game first before we're just trying to suck money out of it, right? They've even said that, like, hey, we want to get people to love the game that we've built. Like, this isn't just about, trying to get people to write us over checks. And when I talk to them, like, they tell me, like, they openly tell me, this is not Diablo Immortal. This is not, you are required to log in every day to get your daily rewards, to do your five things. And then, you've done your 5 things for the day. You've done your daily logins. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Like, that is not this. This is a log in when you want, do your end game systems when you want, play with your friends, duty-free trading, put your stuff up for sale. You can only get good loot through hunting, monsters. Like that gives me a lot of confidence in the game.
That's good though. It looks like they recognize the damage done, like I was mentioning, and they're trying to build a community back up, like within the ARPG community, and they're connecting with content creators, which would be you as one of them, and apparently your affiliates as well.
So I don't think the developers themselves are handling the PR reach out, which means both the development team, the art team, and the PR team are all great.
Well, I will say,
fantastic in this game.
I won't give my official stamp of like, guilty, go play this now. I mean, it's a free game, so I mean, like, sure.
I'm going to play it anyway.
But I'm not going to be like stop what you're doing, go download this now until I play the PC version, right? So,
and that's
that's a port, right?
Because even through a capture card and trying to play on PC, like, I mean, it's friggin' horrible. So,
well, you just don't like having the cable, right?
Oh gosh. So it's funny because the capture card plugs in obviously to the USB-C, and you play with your thumbs. Obviously, you can't use a controller. They can't use like a Bluetooth controller. So if your thumb literally touches the cable at all, bends it up, bends it down, bends it up, left, right, disconnects the capture card because it doesn't have a good signal, and then the screen goes black. It's friggin' horrible. It is horrible. So, if it has
you gotta hold the phone like that.
If it has a really poor PC port, if it has a Diablo Immortal PC port, which...
What's your gut feeling, Aaron?
My gut feeling's...
On the port.
My gut feeling's good because I already saw the UI in their latest trailer.
Sure.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's going to function well, obviously.
Yeah,
that's true.
But
hopefully...
Everything you've seen, does it tell you that they're going to mess up a UI?
No.
Like, even on as far as I've been able to trying to get into the system, which doesn't work.
You're not getting in.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. They've two-form authentication. Even that UI works really well. Looks fantastic. The tap, code input looks really good. The backsplash to it is fantastic and slightly animated. Everything they've done is good.
It is
stuff that doesn't matter.
Like, is mandatory though.
What a weird idea that I'm playing the phone. I'm playing the game on my phone, and it kind of feels like I'm playing on a PC. Like what? Like I can't really. Normally
Witchcraft.
when you're playing Diablo Immortal, and it's like, this game is just a garbage phone game that I am playing on my PC. But it's weird when it's like, I'm playing Torchlight on my phone and it feels like a PC game. Do you hear where I'm going with this? Like, it is the opposite of the normal.
So what you're saying is Diablo Immortal is hot garbage.
Don't talk about Diablo Immortal. I hate that game.
Trash.
Moving on to Diablo Immortal.
Oh, I forgot we have a segment for Diablo Immortal.
Because we have,
Diablo Immortal player paid to win too much. Can no longer find PvP matches. Poor baby. Oh, poor baby.
You know what's really funny?
So much money in that no one can keep up with his.
Okay, so somebody in Diablo Immortal paid $100,000, and his character, he says, is too pay to win. It's too pay to win that he cannot find matches. And Diablo, because he's trying to get a refund now, and Diablo responded that they're going to be updating the game every 2 to 3 weeks, and he'll be able to find matches. So that person that slaughters you every second, don't worry, he's coming back to slaughter you every second.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll give you some skins that you can get for your overpowered $100,000 character.
And of course, then Asmongold made a video on it too, reacting. Frickin' Diablo Immortal. Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't want to talk about it. This is supposed to be a 90-minute podcast, but I'm not ready to stop it yet. Games you're playing. Guilty, go.
Warframe.
What got you to play Warframe?
Boredom.
You're like, it's free.
13 Sentinels Aegis is something I bought tonight too.
But you haven't played it yet.
I am an Atlas. I just bought it. I'm an Atlas fan, so I'm probably gonna put time into that. But I played Warframe in the past. I've got some hours into it on other platforms, and I was bored. And then it grabbed me again because it's like that. It's like crack. Warframe is crack.
Is it now? I've seen you playing it recently a bit.
I've got problems. I've got Warframe problems.
Daft, what are you playing?
What am I playing? I'm playing a game called Soulstone Survivors.
Soulstone. Okay, talk about it for a second while I look it up.
Okay, Soulstone Survivors is ish in the realm of Vampire Survivors, but has its own formula. The main difference being it's not bumped damage, so things don't just touch you and you take it. They have to actually aim at you and hit you, so that's a thing. So you can go amongst the things and they'll hit you.
Roguelike? What is it?
Yes, it's a rogue. I would say it's a roguelite because there is a progression system where you actually do go to different maps to collect different types of stones and gems and what have you for crafting. And then you go back to the main game once your character passes, or dies, or you win, and you could go to the blacksmith and upgrade your bow. It's kind of like a action RPG style game where your character levels like that. So you have the familiar classes like mages, and rogues, and sword fighter. Those are the three I have access to, so the three I know of. But basically, it's similar to where you level up and you're constantly hitting things, but the pacing of it, and there's a dodge thing your character can do, so you have an active dodge. You aim where you're shooting, so it's not so random. You have to actually point towards things. I've enjoyed it though. It was a nice surprise. I hadn't played in like Vampire Survivor type games for about a month.
Yep.
Got burnt out on all the different versions of them.
One of my favorite things to look at now is, because it's so silly, is how developers define their game through tags. So you could put the Steam tags on your game. Okay, you're with me so far? Soulstone Survivors is one of those where they put like 100 tags. So listen to this because it's so repetitive. It's an action roguelike. It's bullet hell. It's roguelite. So it's like and light.
Like and light.
It's crafting. It's an action RPG.
Yes.
So it's it's also an action RPG. It's also an arcade. It's also top down.
Okay.
It's also dark fantasy. And look at this. The next two tags are action and RPG. So it's an action RPG and an action space RPG.
Hey, when you're filling those out, they give, it just for people looking up the different things. But
I know it's just really funny.
It is funny. But Aaron,
is it
everything.
also a video game?
I mean, literally, when I do SEO, I do that for my videos too. It's everything.
Right.
Yeah.
They do have a summoner class though, and it was really cool, Aaron.
Oh boy.
And right now it's only the demo I'm playing, but the demo was substantial. I beat the demo. There's 3 levels they offered you, and there's certain like progression system with each level, and you're trying to collect things. There's also like the roguelite is you can there's like a skill tree that you can open that will give you defensive skills or offensive skills, you know, that kind of vibe where you kind of tree off and they're clustered into things, and you're spending the coins or the diamonds that you pick up throughout the game to get those. And then the crafting part is there's nodes that are throughout the game that you will go destroy. So basically, like there's the basic minions, there's magic minions, like if you were playing Last Epoch, the next tier up, the ones that you can kind of a little more dangerous, but you can knock them out. And then there's boss level things.
Yep.
So you're kind of like mixing that through, and it's very visually heavy. Like there's a lot, but it's a lot of what you're seeing is telegraph damage. So like red is bad.
Yep.
The blue will be yours. So that kind of vibe. And the fact though, the thing that makes it cool is you can roam around a lot because they have to hit you.
Yeah.
So you have a hitbox. That makes a huge difference in a vampire because you played Vampire Survivor. You just would die if things were around you essentially. This one's like a little more forgiving in that. So it is strategic, a little more strategic than Vampire Survivors, I'll say.
Well, I just downloaded the demo, so I'll let you know what I think.
Let me know what you think. I like when you play it, you have to open it up, and it costs like a couple games worth of playing the first character, the Ranger, which is the third one. There's like a sword character, a magic character, and a Ranger are the first 3 you can open up.
So
my pick was the Ranger.
On YouTube, I love making first impression videos, and I love it when games on Steam have demos because that's literally all I need to make a first impressions video. So maybe I can make a new Vampire Survivors style game.
I think you'll like this one just because it's that much different. It makes it a little.
Do I get access to the Necro class right off the bat?
Yes, it's a skill that you can take.
Oh, okay, I see.
You can take. It's kind of. Basically, you get when you level up, you'll get 3 card types pop up, and they could be various things. One of them will be a summoner, and if you take the summoner, then you can add to the summoner where you take it again and again, and it kind of buffs up the skill itself. That's within the game. That's kind of like the roguelike.
Yeah.
Outside of the game, you can gather the coins and gather the other ingredients to level up your weapons. And there's different tiers of weapons, like standard, normal.
Well, I will let you know what I think, sir. Okay. The games I have been playing. Go figure. I've been streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've been specifically only playing Last Epoch because I'm trying to update all of my builds. 4 are done. I don't know what the next one I'm going to do. Actually, Shotgun Marksman's not done. We died too much. I need to keep working on that. So,
too much.
You died a lot.
You died a lot.
I said I died too much. Isn't that's
there was like that was like 10 in a row. That was pretty rough.
Dude, I had
almost made me think that was not a good class to play.
It's not. I had 1100 life. I didn't die after I fixed that. I don't think I died once, right?
I don't think so. After
you did.
I don't think so.
One more time.
But it was like an hour and a half then of nothing. Anyways, I've been playing lots of Last Epoch, trying to update my builds, and I've been playing. Don't be jealous, gentlemen. Torchlight Infinite.
Yes,
okay, I've been playing Warframe. Don't be jealous.
I have it. I just downloaded it since it's free.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for you being addicted to it, and I take no responsibility.
None.
I honestly don't know how long I'm going to have access to the game. Like, are they going to take it away? I have no idea.
With the way they're talking
Torchlight?
to everybody, I doubt it. You're going to be playing it until the game comes out.
They'll be like, we're just going to transfer your character so you can keep it.
So
maybe
in one regard, if they put in analytics, which means your phone's constantly sending them data, you're giving them tools that they can use to make the game better. So I don't.
And if they allow me to keep access, I'm working on a crafting video, so I could break down the crafting of the game. I could literally break down the entire game for the community before anybody can play it.
That's good.
Right? I mean,
seems like a win-win.
I need my PC again. I want to play my lightning bug again. I love that build. It's fun. Okay, everybody. I'm going to call it right there. And it'll be 90 minutes. We're at 1 hour and 45. Now, what we're going to do is for the last hour, the bonus hour, we switch over to Patreon. As always, anybody out there, thank you for following this Twitch. Thank you for the donations. If you follow me on YouTube, thank you for the subs, likes, shares, comments. I truly mean it. I need all of that, okay? But if you ever want to take it one step further, if you ever think, you know what, I like these guys, I want to support them, link is in the chat right now for our Patreon. We do a bonus hour of the podcast every single week. We have a weekly blog post. You get access to the VIP lounge in Discord. You get a special title in Discord, and based upon the rank that you sign up inside of Patreon, you get lots of other goodies, okay? So the link is in there. It's also in every single one of my YouTube videos. It's also in the Discord. It's also in the About section. It's impossible to not find it. So check out the Patreon. We would always appreciate it. That's all I've got. I'm giving Guilty the final word.
Good night, everybody.
No, you suck at the final word. All right, Daft, you get the final word.
I'll add on to that. Good night, all. And it was fun. Check in for the comment section tomorrow when Aaron posts it so we can see what the community at large thinks about it. And yeah, it was fun, guys. And I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we do interact in the YouTube comments and on Discord.
We do.
So join the Discord, and
especially Discord, because we're on there all the time throughout the day. So yeah, come join the Discord, and yeah, as always, it was fun.
And Luz, just so you know, Guilty's in first in points right now, so you got some work to make up. This Week in Action podcast 26 in the books. Daft, Guilty, and Aaron out. Bye.